Well, we all know that NASA keeps us in the dark on a whole lot. With all the secrecy, all the half-truths, so to speak, out here about certain things. And when it comes to other countries, there's obviously more going on here than just the U.S. all of a sudden wanting to get to the moon. There seems to be something that has been in operation for some time, and even in recent articles, they want to state, well, nothing's built, but they've got $19 billion for 2018 and 2019 to do this with a budget from Congress. And then they leave it there in the open for the masses to consume. Now, we know there's a black budget. None of those numbers ever discussed, talked about anything. And we know that there's hidden technologies. There's things that they have that are decades in advance of what they're telling the masses. So you have to keep all of this in mind in terms of these new announcements. The Trump administration laid a few things out there as soon as they came in. And one of the more surprising ones, I think, for people was the talk of a Space Force. Now, here recently, he signed something completely different where they have a Space Command. This is a whole new division. And this was separate from his announcement of a Space Force. These were two different things, and he even stated that in the article in the last video that I did on the subject, which shows two different divisions. Now, what NASA's saying is they want to launch rather quickly what they're calling a lunar space station, so to speak. And it's going to be called Gateway. This is interesting on many different levels, especially with what's going on with the moon. I want to remind folks, China all of a sudden made some leaps and bounds. They have a rover up there, the Jade Rabbit, and they just landed on the dark side, the backside of the moon. Complete secrecy, ongoing, coming from that nation about what's happening. But they have in an almost like an L2 position, they have like a satellite sitting locked into position on the backside of the moon where they can send information up to it, and then it in turn will send info back down to the planet. So what's going to happen in the coming decade with the moon? I think a lot. China's already there in terms of a rover and many landings, and who knows what they're doing up there. Now, if you factor in some secret technology that either country could have, I'm not talking little old rockets. I'm talking anti-propulsion, anti-gravitics, the things that we know that they have. This gets them to and from rather quickly. But they have to put on a puppet show for the masses of shooting off rockets down in Cape Canaveral to make everyone think that, that's how travel is through deep space, when that's not the case. And we've talked about that many times. But this comes with the layers and layers of deception that's out there floating around that you have to peel through and get through when it comes to trying to figure out what's really going on. Now, when you look back, the last time they were said to have had a person on the moon was 1972 or in the 70s. And I wouldn't get lost in an argument with somebody on over if they did or they didn't. It's okay to debate things, but see the bigger picture here. And quit fighting and bickering over the smaller things that are keeping you pinned up and held up from seeing larger pictures. The bigger picture, so to speak. Now, I've gone into great detail about what I think about this moon and what I think's going on there. The fact how it's different than any other moon in the solar system. The size of it alone, astronomically larger than any other moon compared to a planet in the system. And all the other key features about how it's locked into its position facing us. Its influence on all the waters of this planet, including us, as we are between 60 and 70% water. And if you want to debate on those percentages too, once again, that's petty. Okay, it's somewhere in that window. But the bigger picture here being they are looking at the moon and having something orbiting it constantly. Now, you can go to Satellite Tracker and you can track many different satellites and you can even see them. Like the ISS, you can see it with your own eyes as it passes in the sky at certain times of the clear sky as it's going over you. It looks like a red dot way up there. But you'll see it. And there's all kinds of other debris out there that they've just left, and really they had no choice but to to leave because they didn't have a plan on cleaning anything up when satellites and other things exploded and got destroyed, and then fragments of that blow up, and it's created this massive ring of debris that's out there that now you have to deal with as well. And that has to do with some of the fireballs we sometimes see raining down anonymously in different places at different times as well. It'll end up being debris, space junk, literally, that comes crashing back down. And they're going to have to deal with all this and getting a space station up there. Now, man, I'm going to be honest with you. This deserves a live show, a new detailed look and dive into a lot of this stuff, because I could talk for an hour or more on this whole subject, because it deserves it, and where everything's going and all the things they're not saying. We got to peel through a lot of different factors, but the moon, a great mystery. It's tied into this planet big time. I want to keep this video rather short and just let it be known that they want to launch this platform that's going to circle it and sit up there around the moon that we should all be able to see. And then from there, they want to start dropping people from it down to it, and potentially using companies like SpaceX and others and their equipment to pull all this off. But once again, you have to factor in all the secrecy and the technology behind the curtain. You know, this is all, it seems, just for the world, for the show, for the masses, the puppet show here. So they're doing this for a reason, because they're ready. I hope you see that. They're ready to take this to another level. I'm going to leave a link below. Make sure to follow me on Twitter. And like I said, here soon, I'm going to put together a live stream, Dabu777, focusing on this right here and more. So until then, it's been Dabu. Much love and eyes to the skies.